Okay, in 10.2 now we're going to multiply polynomials. Now let's just revisit our rules here. Let me make this a little bigger. Oh, that's big. Okay. We're just going to revisit our rules for multiplying any polynomials. You always want to multiply the coefficients. Okay, so that happens first. So 3 times -5 is -15. And then remember you add the powers. So x to the 4th and x makes x to the 5th. Y and y to the 5th makes y to the 6th. And that z just gets tacked along. We're going to do this just a whole bunch of times. So there's a few different ways how we can multiply polynomials. First way we're going to look at is a monomial, which means one term, so that's this 2a to the 4th, times a polynomial, meaning more than one term. So just like with normal numbers, when you have something outside of parentheses, you're going to distribute. So I'm going to take this outside term and I'm going to multiply it to everybody inside the parentheses. So the first one, -2 times 3 is -6. A to the 4th and a squared. Add your powers, a to the 6th. Now -2 times -15 is +30. A to the 4th and a makes a to the 5th. And -2 times +4 is -8. A to the 4 and no a's just leaves me with a to the 4th. And that's it. Okay, just distribute, multiply your coefficients, and add the powers. That's a monomial times a polynomial. Just distribute. Pause the video before moving on to binomial times binomial. Okay, so in a binomial times a binomial, we're going to use something called FOIL. Okay, and binomial means two terms times two terms. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. So FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. If I'm going to look at, I'm going to write this bigger. The first terms in each parentheses, you multiply those together. So 5x times 2x is 10x squared. O stands for outer. So the outer ones would be the 5x and the -3. Okay, because they're on the outside of the whole problem. Like this is the whole problem, so they're on the outside. So 5 times -3 is -15, and bring along the x. Then you multiply the inner terms together. +1 times 2 is +2, and bring along the x. And then the last terms in the problem. 1 times -3 is -3. Okay, so first I did 5x times 2x and got 10x squared. Then I did the outer. So you do the first, outer, that gave me -15x, inner, and last. Now you combine like terms. The middle ones are going to be the ones that are usually going to match. So 10x squared doesn't have any partners, so I just bring them along. -15 plus 2 is -13x, and then -15. Always put your answers in standard form. Very important. Okay, so that's FOIL. You're going to hear FOIL a lot. And FOIL only works when you have 4 terms because there's only 4 letters. What happens if you have more than 4 terms? If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms, well then I can't use FOIL. So pause the video if you need to finish writing that before moving on. So remember in the beginning we talked about we're just distributing. That's really all this is. So if you have more than 4 terms and you can't use FOIL, you're just going to do a whole bunch of distributing. So I'm going to distribute everybody from the first parentheses to everyone in the second parentheses. I'm just going to do it one at a time. So first I'm going to do x squared times everybody over here. So x squared times 2x to the third is 2x to the 5th. X squared times -5 is -5x squared. Now I'm done with that x squared, so I can cross him out. I'm going to repeat this with everybody in the first term, in the first parentheses. So now I'm going to take the 6x. Okay, so now I'm going to do 6x times 2x to the third, and that's plus 12x to the fourth. And 6x times negative 5 is negative 30x. Okay, wait, I'm going to write this down here. Okay, 2x5 minus 5x squared. Okay, now I'm going to do it one more time. And because I did the 6x, he's done. So now I'm going to move on to the 1. 1 times 2x to the third is 2x to the third. And 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. Now you combine all your like terms. Sadly, we actually don't have any in this problem. 2x to the fifth, there's no other that have an x to the fifth, so 2x to the fifth. The next highest power is a 4, and there's only one of those, so 12x to the fourth. Then would come x to the third, but there's no more of those. 5x squared, negative 5x squared would come next, and minus 30x, and minus 5. Ooh, that's a long one. You can get some long answers when you're doing more than 4 terms being multiplied. Okay? So remember, it's all about distributing. But notice that we never distribute within the same parentheses. I never did x squared times 6x or x squared times 1. We always multiply from one parentheses to the other. Let's take it one step at a time and then combine all your like terms. I think that's it. That is. Okay, so there's 10-2.